Well, how you doing? I'm Dr. Matt Young. I'm the AAID 2025 president. We're very excited to be here today at our annual meeting, and I'm very honored to be able to talk to Dr. Frank LaMar Sr.
Thanks.
He's an amazing friend, colleague, and mentor.
You're very kind.
Well, thank you. We have an amazing event coming up in 2026. It's going to be our 75th anniversary for the AAID. It's the longest, most established implant organization in the world. I was very honored to meet Dr. LaMar in 2007 when he was president of the AAID. We were running a maxi course, a 300-hour course in India led by Shankar Iyer. And when I met Dr. LaMar, I was just blown away by his knowledge, his charisma, his effect on the implant dentistry world. And so very happy to be able to talk to him today. Dr. LaMar, why don't you tell us about some of your experiences with AAID over the years?
I became involved with the AAID about 1985. So I've been here, almost 40 years. And, going back, my memories of the people that were here in the academy are just memorable. I wish I could put them all down on paper and have them relate what I saw and experienced with the past members like Hill Tatum, Gershkoff, Dr. Shanavez.
Yeah.
I cannot think of his
Dr.
name.
Goldberg, you won the Gershkoff
Goldberg, I
Award.
didn't know him too well, but I met him on a couple of occasions. But also Lenny Linkow.
Oh, Lenny
Linkow
Yeah.
and I became such friends, and it was a wonderful, wonderful time.
Yeah.
And going back and sharing those memories with other members, the young members of our office and staff, as well as members of the academy, is really interesting because I find that people are really interested in the history of this academy.
Yeah.
And sharing those memories is helpful to them. They really enjoy it.
Yeah, with Dr. Linkow, he was one of our leaders and pioneers in implant dentistry. I know you trained with him and worked with him.
Yes, I used to go to New York and spend weeks with him. I'd go and spend a week at a time, and night and day, being in his company night and day, you went home with one serious headache at the end of the week. He was a wonderful, wonderful human being. And so was Dr. Shanavez. Not many people knew Dr. Shanavez, but he was wonderful. And Hill Tatum, I used to go and train with them. You have to keep in mind, Matt, when we came into implant dentistry in the early 80s, there were no university programs. Academia treated us like pariah. We weren't welcome. We were envied, but at the same time, not liked. And I'm being very kind when I say not liked by academia. So we had to become strong amongst ourselves. So many of us, and it's prior to your time, our education came by going to people around the world who knew something that you thought might be helpful in your knowledge of implant dentistry. And we would do that and another one I forgot to mention is Terry Reynolds.
Oh, yeah.
There's another pioneer of this academy. Just wonderful. And I really cherish the time that I had with each of these people over the years. So, it was an incredible time. At the time, it was tough. We had young kids, we had practices, we had our family lives, we had wives that weren't happy with us being away every weekend, but we did it, and it was for the betterment of the academy. I appreciate what I did, and those of us did it. I have two sons that are implant dentists, and they were able to see my love of implant dentistry, and they really not only followed in my footsteps, they gave me a kick in the butt a long time ago, and far surpassed my level of knowledge and application of implant dentistry. It's a wonderful, wonderful thing. And it would never have happened without this academy. Another little story I'd like to tell is about another friend of mine, Dr. Tony Strazzeri, Anthony Strazzeri from Webster, New York. He was about 10 years older than me, and he was involved in the academy. And when I got interested in implant dentistry because of his application of implant dentistry, he says, Frank, you're fussing around and everything in implant dentistry. He says, but you're never going to advance. You're never going to become the practitioner that I think you're capable of becoming until you get involved with the AAID.
Okay, yeah.
There's a fraternal experience, there is the corporate experience of these meetings, and there's the exposure to worldwide lecturers that are focused on the art and craft of implant dentistry like no other organization. And it becomes a credentialing organization. It became a credentialing organization. So it was wonderful. And those forefathers, I call them the forefathers of implant dentistry, were just exceptional. And it's just great to know. And it's an honor for me to have an opportunity to express this appreciation for these people.
Well, it's amazing.
Yeah, it really is.
Tell me about some of the impact you had on your patients being able to learn and train in implant dentistry back in those early times.
Well, let me tell you a true, very, very true story. 1968, I was just a young practitioner, and I was doing a lot of prosthetic dentistry. But prosthetic dentistry was very difficult because most people in the 60s, 70s, and early 80s, if they had any teeth, they were the anterior teeth or maybe to the bicuspid. So when you rehabilitated them, you did it with crown and bridge, but you only go back so far, posteriorly in the mouth. And we would have to make some kind of a partial, a conventional partial, a fixed attachment partial, but nevertheless, there was a removable prosthesis. And I thought if I could get some posterior support, I could then do roundhouses, full arches of crown and bridge. So I went to this meeting and I saw this guy giving a lecture on blade implants, 1968, the Greater New York meeting.
Yeah.
And he was up there, crazy guy, I'm telling you. Who was it but Lenny Ligno?
Oh, yeah.
I was so enthralled and so impressed. I came home and I said, I can do this. I went and I bought the implant kits and everything else, and I accumulated 6 patients in the practice, and I told them this new science and art form, and I said, I'd be happy to try it on you. It'd be no cost or expense to you. I do it. And if it works, fine. If it doesn't work, I'll remove it and put you back to normal. I said, you're just going to go through the discomfort of going through it and the healing process, but that's all I can give you. And they said, yes. Well, I did 7 implants, 7 blades. I said blades on 7 different patients.
Wow.
Not one of them worked.
Okay.
Not one of them worked. I was so angry with myself. This is absolutely true. I spent the next 10 years traveling around the country and even going to Europe with Dr. Shanovitz and some other people to see what they were doing and listening to their claims of success and trying to learn why they were successful. 1979 now, so it was 10 years later, I put my first blade implant in, and after that, they were completely successful.
Wow.
Why? Because we learned about the trough, the size of the trough. We learned how to bend the blade implant to significantly stabilize it in bone, and we learned bone osteogen. I became very close with the doctor who did the scientific work on osteogen particle, which I believe was the first of bone grafting materials.
Yeah.
He said, just put it in there and fill up that socket before you close it. Now, nobody else told me. There wasn't a doctor around that told me that. But this PhD, MD, PhD biochemist told me to do this stuff and would work. Well, I'm going to tell you, I never lost another blade implant after that, and it was the beginning of the end.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
But it's a true. Those are true stories. Yeah.
Well, I'm from Buffalo, New York, Western New York, and you're in Rochester, and I know how many patients you've helped over the years, how many patients you've been able to take that had loose, ill-fitting dentures and able to have them feel confident and comfortable afterwards.
Oh, it's
your practice
an
is
incredible
legendary.
feeling.
Yeah.
It's an incredible feeling, isn't it? Yeah. Yeah. I'm proud because the practice, my 2 sons came in, and now today, and at this meeting, there's 4 other doctors from our office who are practicing implant dentistry with us now, and they're young fellas, and they're just enjoying the meeting for the first time, and meeting people, and I told them the same thing. I says, if you want to learn how to do implants, you have to become a member of the academy. You have to take a maxi course, and you have to become credentialed.
Yeah.
If you don't do all three of those things, go back and do general dentistry. There's no halfway. There's no halfway of doing implant dentistry. You've got to get the knowledge, and you've got to do the work. It's that simple, right?
It is. You know, the credentialing part's very important. Last year, we had the most amount of newly credentialed members ever. And then this year, we've surpassed last year.
Right.
So we're moving in the right direction. A lot of people want implant education. They want to be credentialed. They want to know how to do it the right way.
You've got to be.
Yeah.
And you've got to protect yourself. You have to protect yourself medically, legally, by having a credential that means something. There's other dental organizations that give out pieces of paper, but they're not bona fide credentials. They'll never stand up in court. The academy's credentials will stand up in a law, in a legal environment. So you really need to be aware of that. And I don't think you want to be doing what we do in implant dentistry and go bare without credentials.
Sure.
If you have an unhappy patient who decides to take you to court, it made no sense to me, and I preach that to I did preach it to my sons. I don't need to preach anything to them anymore. But to the other young doctors coming in, those are the things that are important. That's why today there are 6 doctors from our office here today. Yeah.
Wow. I saw some of them walking around today and enjoying the conference.
Oh, they're three of them are the first timers, and they're enthralled. They sat with us at dinner last night. At dinner, well, there was a bunch of us, but we had a guest there, Holly. What's Holly's last
Dr.
name?
Ali. Yep.
Not Dr. Ali. Ole Jensen.
Oh, Ole Jensen.
Ole Jensen, and he was there, and they were listening to us talk, and they just took it in like a sponge on a wet surface. Yeah. They really enjoyed their time, and it's good exposure for them. I could see the looks on their face were like what I experienced when I came to my first meeting. I was just in awe of these guys up there speaking. Dr. Linkow, Dr. Tatum, it goes on and on and on. It was incredible, an incredible time.
Well, we're very honored to have our 75th anniversary for AAID. This organization was built by great leaders like Dr. Frank LaMar Sr. You've been a mentor to me, mentor to so many people.
It was easy with you.
That's good. Yeah.
It was easy.
Well, we appreciate everything you've done for the Academy.
Thank you.
And we expect amazing growth in the future by great leaders like you have gotten things started. So
Thank you so much.
Thank you very much.
Thanks, man. Thanks for the kind words.
Yeah.